Sometimes, when you're talking to someone, everything seems perfectly normal. Their words are polite, they smile, they act friendly. But deep inside, you feel an odd discomfort. It's as if there's an invisible string, and that string is connected to your choices, your feelings, your decisions. This isn't a coincidence. This is manipulation. Manipulation is an emotional game, carefully designed to steer you towards someone else's desires. And most of the time, it starts quietly, by making you feel guilty, unsure of yourself, and ultimately disconnected from who you are. The most dangerous part, we often don't even realize it's happening. That's why this video will be your emotional compass. You'll learn how to recognize those who are trying to control you, how to expose their invisible tactics, and most importantly, how to protect yourself. In this video, we'll analyze 6 major signs of manipulative behavior. And if you've ever felt like someone is subtly influencing or draining you, then you need to watch this video all the way to the end. Tap the like button now, because this video may not only open your eyes, it might wake up many others too. Subscribe and share, because here on this channel, we stand together for emotional strength and psychological freedom. Sign 1, they make you feel guilty. One of the clearest signs of manipulative people is that they constantly make you feel like the bad one. This kind of behavior often starts silently, like a poisonous game, played beneath the surface. You make a decision, say something, or simply try to protect your own boundaries. But suddenly the other person looks hurt, distant, or disappointed. The message becomes clear: you're the problem. Let's imagine a simple scene. You've made plans with a friend, but something important comes up, and you politely say you won't be able to make it. But instead of understanding, you hear something like, "You always do this. I make time for you and you don't even care. No one really needs me. I guess you don't either." Just hearing these words makes you uncomfortable, doesn't it? Because manipulative people are quick to shift the emotional weight onto your shoulders. Their disappointment, anger, even their sadness somehow becomes your fault. And it doesn't stop there. Soon you start overthinking everything. How do I say this without upsetting them? Maybe I should agree first, then back out later. They'll be upset again. Better if I just stay quiet. And somewhere in the middle of all these thoughts, you start losing yourself. Your decisions are no longer based on what you want, but on the fear of how the other person might react. So what's the real problem here? Empathy is when you understand someone and care about how they feel. Manipulation is when someone uses your sense of empathy to control you. Manipulators make you feel like your honesty is causing their pain, and that slowly leads to more guilt, more silence, and fewer times you say no. What should you do in these moments? First, analyze immediately. Ask yourself, does this person respect my right to say no? Or do they treat every no like a personal attack? Ask the key question. Does this person understand my boundaries, or are they only focused on their own needs? If your simple no leads them to say things like, "You don't care about me," "You're abandoning me," "You never think about how I feel," then this is no longer a healthy connection. Because in a healthy relationship, both sides respect each other's freedom to choose and say no without emotional punishment. If someone gets upset just because you said no, and they make you feel guilty or punish you for it, that's manipulation. Sometimes after a conversation, you feel drained, overwhelmed, or unjustly guilty. Now that's a signal. Emotions often say more than words. Maybe you can't express it clearly, but you feel tension in your body, a pressure inside you. That's already a sign of emotional weight. Remember, feelings of guilt don't always come from within. Sometimes they're planted in you. If after every interaction with someone, you end up feeling like you did something wrong, stop and ask yourself, is this my inner voice, or their pressure speaking through me? In situations like this, try saying, "I understand you, but this is my decision." It might sound simple, but in reality, it's a powerful expression of inner strength, because with that sentence, you're neither attacking nor surrendering. You're setting a clear and calm boundary. This is not selfishness or disrespect. On the contrary, it's the foundation of honest communication. And if someone reacts negatively to such a clear and respectful message, then the problem is not you. Everyone can have emotional reactions once in a while. That's normal. It's part of being human. But if the same behavior keeps repeating, it's no longer coincidence. It's a pattern. Yes, anyone can be stressed, sensitive, or emotional at times. Understanding that and being patient once is part of empathy. But if you're constantly being made to feel guilty, always needing to defend yourself, that's not a moment of emotion. That's their communication strategy. And if you constantly find yourself thinking, I don't even know what I did wrong, but somehow it's always my fault, then that's no longer a guess, it's emotional manipulation. So how do you stand strong against it? Step 1 is knowing yourself, understanding what you feel and standing behind your own choices. Saying no to someone doesn't mean you don't love or respect them. In fact, it shows that you love and respect yourself just as much. Never forget, your feelings matter too. You have every right to say no, to change your mind, and to set boundaries. Manipulative people intentionally ignore those rights, but their discomfort is not your responsibility. One of the most powerful tools manipulative people use is sending mixed signals. And that's the second major sign of manipulation. Imagine this. One day they treat you like the most important person in their life. They shower you with attention, kind words, warmth. Then the next day, they go cold, distant, maybe even hurtful. This unpredictable behavior keeps you in a state of emotional confusion. And naturally you start to think, did I do something wrong? Everything was fine yesterday, what changed? Maybe I'm too sensitive. And that's exactly what the manipulator wants, for you to doubt yourself. Why is this so effective? Because people like this create a cycle of emotional rewards and punishments. When you act how they want, you get warmth, closeness, affection. But when you don't, you get silence, distance, coldness. This conditions your brain to think, their treatment depends on me. If I act right, they'll be nice. But the truth is, a healthy relationship shouldn't feel like unpredictable weather. If you have to wonder every time, how will they act toward me today? That's an emotional red flag. So what can you do? 1, focus on consistency, not just one behavior. If someone treats you like gold one day and ignores you the next, that's a sign of their inner emotional instability, not your worth. 2, don't lose your sense of reality. If their mixed signals are dragging you into self-doubt, take a step back. Ask yourself, how do I feel in this relationship? Am I always trying to prove myself? Do I constantly check their mood before speaking? If the answer is yes, you're caught in a cycle of emotional manipulation. 3, ask for clarity. If their behavior confuses you, say it out loud. Try this. Your attitude toward me seems to change from one day to the next. I feel uncertain and uneasy. Can we talk about this openly? This kind of question opens the door to honest communication, or exposes the other person's true intentions. But what if they don't change? A real, healthy relationship requires consistency, not repetition. If someone keeps treating you in a mixed, unpredictable way, it's not coincidence. It's a system they've created to keep you emotionally off balance. If you feel like you're stuck in a tug of war, always trying to earn their approval, always silencing yourself to avoid conflict, that's not your weakness. That's the system they've used to hold control over you. And breaking that system, it is your right. Sign 3, passive-aggressive behavior. Another common trait of manipulative people is passive-aggressive behavior. Sometimes people get upset, hurt, or dissatisfied with you, but instead of telling you directly, they begin to punish you with silence, coldness, or vague nonverbal signals. This is classic passive-aggressiveness. They won't openly say what's wrong, but through their behavior they send a clear message. I'm upset with you and now I'm punishing you for it. What does it look like? They ignore your greeting. They don't respond to your messages. In group settings, they act like you don't even exist. When you ask a question, you get cold. Dismissive replies like, "I don't know," or whatever. Or they emotionally shut you out entirely. And here's the thing, there's no major conflict. Maybe you just expressed an opinion, made a decision, or did something that didn't align with what they wanted. So they respond with odd silence and emotional distance. And when you can't make sense of their behavior, you start questioning yourself. Did I say something wrong? Why are they suddenly acting so cold? Did I hurt them without realizing it? But why do they do this? Because passive-aggressive people fear direct confrontation, but they also don't want to lose control. So they use silence as a weapon to maintain emotional superiority. They punish you without ever having to say a word, and as a result you begin trying to make it right, to win back their approval. They silently gain control, and you're the one chasing clarity. What can you do? Step 1. Recognize the behavior. Say to yourself, this person isn't communicating openly. They're punishing me with silence. Unrecognized behavior affects you more. But once you name it, it begins to lose power. If someone is ignoring you, refusing to speak, or acting cold to show dissatisfaction, you must not stay silent. Speak up calmly and directly. I've noticed you've been distant with me lately. If something's wrong, we can talk about it. Your silence makes me more uncomfortable than your words ever could. These kinds of statements invite honesty and also serve as emotional protection for you. Reach out once clearly. Then, respect your own space and move on. You can ask for clarity, but don't beg for approval. Because when a passive-aggressive person sees how deeply their silence affects you, they might intensify the behavior. You have to understand, a relationship without openness is not a healthy relationship. Silence, indifference, and intentional coldness are not mood swings. They're hidden forms of emotional manipulation. If someone is trying to punish you without ever saying a word, this isn't a relationship and it's a game. And in that game, your role is not to remain silent. Your role is to recognize the game and walk away from it. Sign 4, playing the victim. Another tactic manipulators often use is playing the victim. Have you ever met someone who, the moment they begin talking, presents themselves as someone who's always been mistreated, abandoned, and overlooked by the world? There's a hidden message behind their words and actions. I'm broken, and you're the one who needs to save me. At first you feel compassion. Their stories really do sound heartbreaking. They never felt loved by their parents. They were cheated on in past relationships. Their friends betrayed them. Their current life is full of hardships. And somehow you begin to feel like it's your job to carry the weight of it all. Over time, you feel emotionally responsible. You have to make time for them. You have to listen to their pain. You have to give money, energy, emotional support, whatever they ask. And if you don't, they make you feel like you're cold, heartless, or selfish. But here's the danger. You start to lose your own boundaries. You begin to feel ashamed to say, I don't want to. I'm tired. I'm not ready. Because they've shown you so much helplessness that no matter what you give, it never feels like enough. Why is this manipulation? Because beneath all the suffering, there's control. They don't say it directly. This is what I want, do it. Instead, they subtly suggest, if you don't do this for me, I'll suffer even more. It's emotional blackmail. You can't leave them. You can't even distance yourself because you feel responsible for their well-being. But that's not healthy. That's not love. That's manipulation dressed up as pain. But never forget one truth. If someone constantly plays the victim, at some point, it's a choice. Because being a real victim is a condition, but acting like one is a strategy. And the purpose of that strategy is to exploit your emotional soft spots, to make you feel guilty, and most importantly, to cross your boundaries. So what can you do? 1. Recognize their emotions, but don't take on the burden. Empathy is human, but carrying someone else's life on your shoulders is a trap. Ask yourself, does this person want to solve their problem? Or do they just want constant attention and sympathy? If someone talks about the same struggles over and over again, without ever trying to change or improve, You're no longer helping them. You're just feeding their drama. Setting boundaries is not selfish. You can say, I hear you and I value that you trust me with this. But when I take on too much, I start to burn out. I want to be here for you, but I need to protect myself too. This statement is both respectful and powerful. Sometimes we believe that to be a good person, we must help everyone. But don't forget, you're not a therapist. You're not a hero. You're not a savior. Each person is responsible for choosing to get out of their own situation. You can support, but you don't have to rescue. If someone is always helpless, never happy, and you're always the one who has to do something for them, that's no longer a relationship. That's emotional captivity. Protect your empathy, because unchecked empathy can easily be turned into manipulation. Sign 5, changing the subject and creating distractions. One of the subtlest yet most effective weapons of a manipulator is changing the topic to distract you. You ask a direct question or try to clarify an issue, and suddenly the person shifts the focus, brings up unrelated topics, or even starts accusing you. How does this look? You say, why haven't you made time for me lately? And instead of answering, you hear, you always make everything about you. You don't even know what I've been going through. What about how you treat me? You never see your own mistakes. The conversation is now completely off topic, and you're being pulled into defending yourself instead of getting the clarity you originally wanted. Why does this tactic work so well? Because people naturally avoid conflict. They don't want to keep pushing when the conversation gets difficult. Manipulators use this avoidance to steer the conversation away and take control. In the end, you don't get an answer. You're forced to explain yourself. You lose track of the original issue, and eventually you get tired and stay silent. So what can you do? 1. Stay focused. Repeat the core issue clearly. You can calmly say, what I really want to talk about right now is this issue. I'd appreciate a direct answer. Let's clear this up first. Then we can talk about the rest. If they keep deflecting, name it directly. I feel like you're changing the subject. Let's stay with the main point first. You can share your concerns right after. They may try to make you angry, confuse you, or push your buttons, but keep your composure and stay with the topic. If it's clear they're distracting you to manipulate the outcome, you can say, deflecting from the main issue isn't okay with me. Avoiding the topic won't solve the problem. Distraction is a subtle but dangerous form of manipulation. It's used to escape accountability, confuse you, and drain your energy until you give up. If you stay grounded, keep your focus, and calmly bring the conversation back, you break their pattern. And always remember, asking for clarity is your right. It's not aggression, it's emotional self-respect. Sign 6, undermining your confidence. Finally, one of the most damaging behaviors of a manipulator is that they attack your self-confidence. They may do it through comments, backhanded jokes, or under the disguise of just trying to help. They'll say things like, you're too sensitive. You think too much. That's your problem. You're overreacting again. You're just not good at this. You'll probably fail, but hey, give it a try. Their goal is to weaken your sense of self so that you become more dependent on them. If they succeed in making you doubt your own decisions, emotions, and abilities, they've created control. What does this mean? You've probably heard phrases like these before. You can't do that. You're too sensitive. You make everything a problem. Thinking that much isn't normal. You overanalyze everything. Just relax. At first glance, these statements may seem like they're meant to help or support you, but in reality, their goal is to diminish you, to make you feel small and unsure. Why do manipulators do this? Because they know something very well. It's much easier to control someone who lacks confidence. If you start doubting your own decisions, feelings, and thoughts, they gain more influence over your life. It's like planting seeds of doubt inside your own voice. And the more that doubt grows, the more dependent you become on them. What should you do? Here are ways to rebuild your self-confidence. One, trust your feelings.
Your emotions, thoughts, and experiences belong to you.
And no one has the right to label them as not normal or make you feel ashamed of them. Listen to your inner voice. What truly matters is not what others say about you, but what your heart and mind are telling you. When someone says something that makes you doubt yourself, remind yourself, that's their opinion, not mine. I know who I am. You can even say empowering affirmations daily. My thoughts matter. I respect my emotions. I am capable and I deserve to succeed. These simple affirmations build inner strength and clarity. The manipulator's goal is to make you question yourself, to weaken your strength, and to make you emotionally dependent on them. But self-trust is your greatest defense. Believing in yourself, standing up for your rights, and protecting your boundaries. That is your deepest power. The final truth. Manipulation isn't an obvious attack. It's a subtle, quiet attempt to control you, to steer your choices, weaken your confidence, and blur your boundaries. But now you know the rules of the game. You've learned how to spot manipulation tactics. You can now recognize them, name them, and protect yourself from their influence. Never forget, your greatest power lies in knowing yourself and defining your boundaries. When you truly know your worth, no one can control you. If this video helped you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Share your thoughts in the comments. Maybe you've experienced something similar. Like the video and share it with your friends, so they too can recognize the hidden games of manipulation. Let's grow stronger together and learn to protect ourselves and those we care about. Until the next video, with love from the Stoic Master channel.